Hi, welcome to Political Stomping Grounds. I'm here today with David Phillips. He's currently running for Rialto City Council. David has a blog called Rialto Now, where he talks about current events in the city. He also is a talk show host and Let's Talk Community, executive director of the Inland Valley Free Community Coalition, Inland Empire Youth for Today, community service assistant for Fontana Senior Center, and a small business owner for Dave's Inland Empire Marketing, or as some people would know him as Mr. Empire. So Dave, this is quite a list of things that you have going on here. So why are you running for city council? But before you answer that, I need to ask you a few other questions so the viewers will get to know who you are. How long have you lived in Rialto?
I've lived in Rialto since the late 80s. My father moved us here when he transferred. He was a corrections officer. He transferred from up in Northern California. He transferred down to Chino, and he ended up purchasing home here. I think I've lived here since about third grade. We've migrated in and out a couple times there, but basically since I was in third grade up at Preston Elementary School.
Oh, cool. So you basically grew up here?
Basically, yes.
And so do you have a wife and children?
Yes, I have a beautiful wife who is an educator out in the Rialto Unified School District, and I have two young daughters, a second grader and a preschooler.
Who has inspired you in your life?
Well, I have to, even though we don't always get along, my father has always been the person who started me on this road of caring for community, caring for people that have no real attachment to myself or my life. He worked in law enforcement basically his whole life. He provided for our family, but he also, everywhere we lived, he was the neighborhood watch captain. He was the president of the association, and he never did it because he wanted to have those lofty positions. He wanted to have a title next to his name. He did it because he told me, David, there are some people that can't take care of themselves, and they need someone to step up and help take care of them for them. So he was always there to lend a helping hand, to use his knowledge, to use his passion, and to use the fact that he's not afraid to stand up to wrong to help other people. There's just some people that just they shy away from it. They'll let people walk all over them, and that was never my dad. And even to being the volunteer custodian at the church and helping with the youth ministry, he was always there to make sure he was doing something to help other people, that he was giving back. And that's really stuck with me, growing up and leading up to being the man, the father that I am. And then, our late passing councilman, Sean O'Connell, he and I knew each other for about 3 or 4 years. And in that short time, I learned so much from him. I got a chance to teach him a little about, the way things work. It was kind of funny when things would come up on the dais that he had said, that never happened. I've never seen that. He would call me and he would say, David, I'm sorry. I just saw that happen. That thing you told me about, that is true. So it was kind of nice to have just a brotherhood and a partnership with him, and probably the most honest and passionate person that I have ever met in politics, whether it's a volunteer position at a school board all the way to the President of the United States. I've never heard anyone be as honest and caring about leading people and doing the right thing. So those two, my father and Sean, are very powerful people. And it's actually, Sundays are very difficult for us because this is the day that we found out that Sean passed away back in early June. So as I was sitting in church this morning, I was thinking about just what I'm preparing to do and what would Sean think. And it was a little emotional, but it's nice to know that we have an example, that there's a stick. I want to meet this at least, or try to exceed the legacy that he left here in the community.
Sounds like both of them were not about Mike Four and no more. They were more about everybody else.
Yeah.
Is that what you'd say?
Yeah. My dad he's retired from law enforcement, and he's now doing prison ministry. He's back in the prisons. He's now up in Oregon, and he is going into the prisons 3 and 4 times a week, and he is talking to inmates. He's leading them to Christ. He's answering questions. He's providing support. So yeah, both men, it was, especially with Sean, it wasn't easy, being someone confined to a wheelchair, getting prepared for meetings and being, going out to Las Vegas to go to the large conventions when it comes to, development and stuff. All of these, none of these things came easy to him, but he did it because he had someone else in mind. And the same thing, my father, it was a lot of times he, forewent spending time with his family or some obligation that would have been more fun in effort to help somebody else. So yeah, both of them, that was a big part of.
So how does that translate to what you want to do here in Rialto then?
Here in Rialto, I've been kind of working behind the scenes, kind of been that person on the outside, making sure that things are done the correct way, that the community's not forgotten. A lot of times, when big money's talked about, we forget to look at how it's going to impact the little people. And we can see it with, the discussions with bringing toll lanes to the 10 freeway. We have a lot of local elected officials sitting on sandbag that are thinking about the big project, forgetting about the people who will no longer can afford to drive in that special lane. We're going to create a special lane for people of wealth and to do. I myself will not drive on that lane. I pay taxes to drive on the freeway. Why would I want to pay more? So we've done a lot on the outside, and now with an opportunity, and it was kind of funny is listening to our pastor today talk about being led into situations. Is I've always had a desire to go into public work, and I've worked in school districts as an employee. I've been a part of this thing, but I've never really been an elected official or a commissioner or anything. I've kind of just played around with, is it time? It never really felt right. Now it feels right. The community needs an advocate sitting behind the desk, sitting in the meetings, in closed session, advocating for them. We have to make sure that the people that are struggling and the people that are doing well all are represented at the same time when decisions are being made. Because with big money coming up, the city has a very big opportunity to have millions of dollars up into the general fund through a new measure they passed a couple years ago. Once that measure comes out of litigation, there's millions of dollars, and I want to make sure that when we're looking at millions of dollars, that those millions of dollars go to the places it needs to. It goes to a fire station in the south end of the city, that it goes into new resources that we can provide for the community. We had a backpack giveaway at one of our middle schools a couple weeks ago. 1,500 people came out to get a backpack full of stuff. There's clearly a need that we are not meeting here in the city, and I don't want to just give people free stuff. I want to give people the opportunity to pick themselves up, because if they can pick themselves up, then our economy will pick up. If I just keep giving people free stuff all the time, then they're just going to be there for the next time with their hand out, and they're not going to have built something for themselves.
Well, that goes back to teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, and give a man to fish, he'll only eat for a day. And really, that's kind of sounds like what you want to do.
Yeah.
You have a certain amount of money, and you want to give it to the places that need it the most. But going back to a conversation that we had earlier, talking about having all parties come in and help, not just the anointed few.
The people that are politically connected?
The people that are politically connected. But that's what it seems like cities have become, is all just the politically connected people end up with all the wealth, or getting all the deals. So it really sounds like to me, and knowing you like I do, that you want to fight for those that don't have the political connections.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like we were talking about off camera, it is so sad to see actual organizations, there's nothing wrong with them other than the fact that they don't fall into political favor with the people currently running the situation. And I don't care if you are out of political favor with my personal ideologies, or if you're in line. If you can do something good for this community, if you can provide a benefit, I want to find a way to get you involved. I want to find a way to plug you into the process. And so many times people get burnt out and they feel ostracized because they've fought against the political wall so long, they've just given up. We have some really awesome people here, even some great senior citizens that have spent years playing games in the city, and they're tired of it. If we could take the games out of working with City Hall, this would be an awesome place to live. It would be so great.
Well, it's all about pulling together. I mean, right now I see that in our political world, we're all separated. We've turned into a salad bowl and not a melting pot.
Right.
It's all pulling together. And I think that's kind of where you want to go. You want to take everything that's here, pull it together, and then push it out from there. Is that how?
Yes, and that's actually perfect. I don't think I could have said it any better.
And go from there. So I know that you're talking about some of the things that you want to do. What else is it that you want to do in the city, on city council?
I want to bring back the perspective of the people. We don't have that. We have a lot of people that are tied to developers. They're tied to people who have made contributions. They've made promises, and now they feel obligated to keep them. And my obligation will be to the people here in the city of Rialto, and my obligation will also be to making sure that the connections that we have within the community, that they stay strong, and then where we don't have good connections, that we strengthen those or build a bridge there. Get it, bridge Rialto. Yeah, I work that in there. We build that bridge, make that connection, because one of the things that the City of Rialto Unified School District did when they hired their new superintendent, they brought in a superintendent that was actually interested in rebuilding the connection between the city and the school district. There was a very bad relationship for a lot of years, and this man, Dr. Avila, came in and he looked at, he put an olive branch out to the city and brought the city into the conversation of making the school district a better place. Now, recently, we've had some elected officials that have done some things to jeopardize that relationship. So I want to be the voice of reason within the council that can foresee a bad situation and find a way to stop it, or to kind of come alongside. Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, this person's don't worry about it. We're here, because that's what Sean was. Sean was our voice of reason.
He was the peacemaker.
Yes, and he
found the common ground.
Talking to a lot of the department heads, in the last couple of months since his passing, they all say every time we're getting ready for a council meeting, I feel like I'm forgetting something. And then they realize Sean hasn't come into my office asking me to, okay, what can we do about this? I see an issue here. He didn't wait until council meetings to do it publicly. There was a lot of times he worked behind the scenes to fix something that didn't look right. So when it came to actually voting for it, they could actually vote for it. They could actually have a discussion on it, because there wasn't a bunch of, errors or miscues or, miscommunications in the tab items. They could actually deal with the business, the city's business. And so that's another thing I want to try to do, is I want to try to work as hard as our predecessors did to foresee the issues that might come up and to help alleviate those.
Stand in the gap.
Big time. And I'm a big guy, so I think I can stand out of the gap.
Well, you know what? They had that bridge out to nowhere up in the San Gabriel Mountains, and I don't think that's really kind of what you want to be. You want to be the bridge to somewhere and do something. And that's just kind of, from what I see, that's who you are. You don't want to just sit in the corner and go, okay, I'm here, I'm doing my thing, and then we're done. But no, that doesn't come across to me, not only knowing you professionally, but personally, that's not who you are. So what else would you like to tell the viewers at this point?
I would just like to tell them there's a lot of people running in the city of Rialto. There's some very great, fine people, but it all goes back to, where are your political affiliations? Where do your allegiances lie? A lot of people are great people, but they have some scary allegiances. So I just want to let you know, I don't have any scary allegiances. My allegiances are to the people. My allegiances are to the employees. My allegiances are here. I don't have any big developers or any political parties writing me big checks expecting me to do certain things. I'm going to do what the community wants. I'm the person who's going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to open myself up to the citizens on social media. I'm going to give you access to city politics like you've never had before. And I can do that by making myself available. You can reach, if you put David for Rialto in Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, you will find me. I've run Rialto now for about 4.5 years now. We get out to more people. People don't know me by my name, but if I tell them, oh, I'm the guy who owns Rialto Now. Oh, I love that blog. Or I hate it, but I know you. So we do our best to get out to the community, and that's what I want to do. I want to continue to bring new technologies into the city government and allow us to reach out to the community.
Well, that sounds like a good plan.
next to that?
No! Good Lord, people are going to live by that. How many people are they planning?
It's a 250 unit, I think, 3 or 4 story. The train horn you heard, it's a 3 or 4 story, about 250 unit, low income apartment complex that they want to put literally just the other side of those railroad tracks. And they swear that with super awesome windows and all of the plants and stuff, that they can block that noise from people. But that train actually runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's Metrolink and also some freight trains that run through there. So that's just another thing too. I tried to bring that up to the council. Nobody listened, but we said our piece. So when the residents complain, hopefully I'll be the one there to help them with their problems and say, we did tell them. And we can go back and say, I told you so, to those people who voted for that plan.
Well, that's because they don't live by these places.
Right?
So they'll never know, and they just kind of assume that it's just going to happen the way we say. I've been around construction and politics long enough. Nothing is ever said like it's going to be done.
No, never.
Nothing. All right. Thank you for the interview, sir. And I appreciate you coming and spending time today. And we will get this forward and going for you.
Thank you.